This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, I'm back. I'm the big time. This is the Value Wrestling. This is going to be a big time rant. We're going to talk about Tony Khan, Chris Jericho. We're going to break everything going down and the craziness of when Tony Khan at the media scrum from the end of World's End to now, what's going on, what we see going forward. We're going to talk about it all right after this. Stay with us. Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the big time, and this is a big time rant. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me right here on another episode of the Big Time Rants. This is the Value Wrestling. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. Let's talk about Tony Khan. Tony Khan comes on as media scrum at World's End and proclaims that AEW is the safest wrestling organization ever. The safest wrestling organization exists. They are completely safe. They are safer than safe. They are the safest of safe. When questioned about recent rumors and speculation about sexual harassment, misappropriate relationships, misappropriate reactions, we really don't know the details, the fine details of the interactions or the situation because nobody's coming out and talking, which leaves us in more speculation than resolution. Tony Khan was asked at the media scrum about this 3 different times on 3 different occasions. Of course, the first time he looked like he did in the thumbnail of this picture. He was wearing the hat that Tony Storm had put on his head and the big sunglasses, doing an interview or a media scrum as the boss, the president, the owner of AEW, looking like a total buffoon, looking like a child who is parading around with his favorite superstars and not a business professional, answering questions of a serious nature, but not really showing that he's taking it seriously in these moments. So originally, this all spans again as we go back, repeat history. We're going to go back to the beginning. Stephen P. News did an interview on a podcast. I believe it was the Rip Rogers podcast. He talked about the NDAs that are lifetime NDAs that Ace Steel and CM Punk signed, and everybody involved in the brawlout signed an NDA, except for some reason, the attorneys, the investigators, whoever did this background to figure out what happened at brawlout and how it all goes down. Everybody got suspended that was involved in this one way or another. The only person who never got an NDA, the only person that doesn't seem to have been interviewed in this situation was Lucy, or one Ace Steel's wife, and she is the one that could tell the story possibly because she has not signed any NDA. This brings Christmas morning around 4 a.m. and Jericho in a rant on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it, coming out and talking about how he never signed an NDA. He was there. He's seen the whole thing go down, which is very confusing because if he would have saw it, why wasn't he investigating? Why didn't he sign an NDA? Because everybody involved around there was talked to, and it doesn't look like the stories match up from one side to another. It seems like Jericho may have been on the outside peeking in more than actually like right there watching it all go down. We don't know all the details, but the stories are conflicting. If Jericho was there, why didn't he have to sign an NDA? That would be the number one investigation story that we need to look into. If Chris Jericho saw all this and he didn't sign an NDA for this information, why? How did he get out of it so easily, so luckily? Why is Jericho above everybody else if he was right there? And if he was right there watching it, why didn't he do something about it instead of being the person that's just kind of, was he going World Star? Did he record it on his phone for the world to see, but didn't get to share it? I don't know. It's really weird if you're telling me, oh, I saw it all, but I didn't get involved. I didn't do anything to stop it. I didn't do anything to, help curve it, change it, fix it. I don't know. It's very weird that Jericho's proclaiming he saw all of it, every little detail, and he didn't sign an NDA so he could tell a story. But in other stories, Jericho wasn't there. Jericho was on the outside looking in, maybe peeking through cracks. I don't know. It is very confusing. But the biggest thing is, why did Jericho feel this necessity to come out at 4 a.m. on Christmas Day and attack Stephen P. News going, I didn't sign NDA, so watch what you're saying to protect your buddies, blah, 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 blah. When there was nothing said about him, nothing entailed except maybe Jericho's trying to save his new buddies, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, the Elite. I don't know. It's very confusing. And the story just deludes into more and more. Chris Jericho proclaiming he's never signed an NDA in his life, which I don't find that possibly to be accurate. I'm sure there's been some kind of NDA. I would think WWE would probably have you sign some type of non-disclosure agreement within the contracts that you're signing when you become employed there, not to talk about trade secrets within the company. I would believe you would sign some type of NDA within AEW when you sign a wrestling contract, independent contractor, or whatever they call these contracts now. I believe there would be wording in that. It may not be a direct NDA, but I believe there would be a non-disclosure agreement within those contracts, a binding agreement that you're not going to talk about certain things about the company, outside of the company, maybe not talk about pay, because, there's some reason wrestlers don't jump out there and tell us what they're getting paid. Interesting. So there's got to be some type of NDA. So Jericho acting like he's never signed an NDA in his life makes me question a lot of things. So now we have Jericho saying that. Then some people came out. We had Nick Hausman come out with a report with speculation that there were skeletons in Chris Jericho's closet that may have had the NDAs. Another person came out on Twitter and referred to Kylie Rae in a situation that happened between Chris Jericho and Kylie Rae, that she was asked to or talked to or suggested to in some form or another by Jericho or others to go up to his room or meet Jericho in some type of room, whether it was his hotel room. The details are still kind of fuzzy. And then it was also painted that other people would be there to discuss wrestling, the future or something, or help her with her career. We don't really know the details, but apparently nobody else was there, but Jericho was there alone. And something supposedly inappropriately happened that upset Kylie Rae to the point that she did not feel comfortable to be there and approached Tony Khan to get a release from the company of AEW. At the time, AEW was hot. At the time, she was brand new. At the time, it looked like she could have been a great star within the AEW. This is some time back. She left. Tony Khan has said at that time, if you go back in lessons, she called him. She asked for his release. He asked her, "Is everything okay?" So I wonder what the tone in her conversation of saying she wanted to release. Why did he feel that she needed to say, "Are you okay?" Not, "Why do you want to release?" "Oh, is everything okay? What's going on?" Don't know the whole situation. Did he feel like there was something going on? Was there a conversation about something going on? And she signed an NDA, got released out of her contract, and off she went. Now she's had some other issues in other companies and other issues within the world of professional wrestling. It's come down to her mental stability, and we wish her the best and hope that she can find that mental stability and figure out whatever may be causing these issues, that she can't do what she wishes to do or loves to do in the world of professional wrestling. Whether it's something to do with this situation or whether it's just something to do with something else, we don't know, and it's not really our business. We just want to see Kylie Rae to be successful and healthy, both physically and mentally. But if something happened with Chris Jericho that's caused lasting mental anguish on Kylie Rae, well, that's really upsetting and not good. Now, Chris Jericho could completely be innocent in this, but the problem I see within all of this is if you are Chris Jericho and you have any accusations, broad or depth, and these are kind of broad accusations that something happened between him and Kylie Rae, he has not come out at any point in time that I have seen, heard, or came across that says that he denies any accusations, that he says that anything happened between him and Kyrie or any situation. And we also know when Tony Khan was addressed with the situation, he never directly denied anything. He just said he wasn't going to talk about speculative rumors. So, I mean, if they're completely rumors, there's no truth to them, he could simply say, because he should know, no, there has never been anything brought to me in this context about Chris Jericho or anybody else, or, this Chris Jericho situation I've never heard of. Nothing's ever been brought to my attention and never been addressed. Why Kylie Rae left was for a different situation or whatever. Just avoiding it and disacknowledging it and hoping that you can sweep it under the rug and it goes away. I get the idea that maybe if we don't talk about it, if we skirt around it, but when you get asked 3 times that your media scream about the same situation and you kind of blow smoke up the butt, it makes you wonder. And since we haven't heard anything from Jericho, of course, we haven't heard anything from Kylie Rae personally coming out, and we can understand that if something happened and she's not comfortable talking about it or doesn't want it to be aired out in public, that is perfectly fine. That is her right to protect whatever situation that may have been for her. She doesn't have to share that with everybody. Now, she did heart a tweet that suggested some things were wrong, that Chris Jericho may have had some skeletons in his closet. She hearted a tweet that leads to speculation that make people believe something did happen and that we need to find out what it is. In her sense, we have to give her the freedom to make that choice. If she chooses to come out at some point in time and address this situation, or she feels comfortable sharing what may have happened, if she can. Again, we don't know if she can because there may have been an NDA signed when she got released from AEW. So Tony Khan may have covered his butt, found out about the situation, talking with Kylie Rae, found out, and quickly got her out of the AEW by giving her a release that she was requesting, have her sign an NDA that she wouldn't talk about anything that had happened to save his butt and his company's butt, which just puts him in a bigger limelight because the comments that he's made to Vince McMahon or about Vince McMahon and his shady dealings when all that stuff came out. Is Tony Khan going to be a black eye on his own company if there is more speculation to these rumors that do come out and do become validated? If there is some truth to this, is it going to look bad on Tony Khan? There's a very possibility. If Tony Khan knew something happened to a level that could really be deemed, and it's hard to say because it's subjective. If somebody feels they were violated in some form or fashion, and somebody else might felt like, well, I don't, I wouldn't take it that in depth. But it doesn't matter about how I may feel about the comment. There may have been a simple comment. There may have been a passing. Jericho could have possibly said something inappropriate that Kylie Rae felt very sensitive about and took very deep and very personal and felt that she had been harassed. Somebody else might have been in the same situation, laughed it off, thought it was a joke, and not taken it as harassment. It is subjective based on how you interpret what is being taken in, and that's what is going to be hard here. Whatever may have happened or said, or whatever the situation is, if there was ever anything that happened, it's all based on how the person that was dealing with it was subjected to it. So it could be something that some people would say, oh, that's not really a big deal. But to that person, it was a big deal and caused them to feel the need to leave the company. If this is the reason why she left the company. And again, we're using the word speculative, and we're walking a fine line to address this situation because there is no hard facts. There is no, there's no smoking gun. There's no hard evidence. There's nothing that says this did or something did happen. But if you look at the big picture, we know Kylie Rae hearted a tweet. She hasn't spoken. We know that she got released from her AEW contract, possibly signing NDA, still trying to clarify that once she was to get released. We know other superstars that asked for the release from the company, like Andrade asked for his release several times, amongst other superstars in AEW who wanted the release that Tony Khan denied their release. So why was it so easy to give Kylie Rae? Of course, Andrade is a much bigger star, and his impact could do more harm by releasing him and letting him go back to the WWE. Yes, no. Then maybe a Kylie Rae who hadn't become such a big, well-named name as Andrade. You can justify that in your terms and say, since Andrade was a big star, Kylie Rae was on that same level, that there's difference. That it was easier to let go of a Kylie Rae because her impact of leaving AEW and going somewhere else would not be as quote-unquote big. And that's nothing against Kylie Rae. It's just if you're a big star that has name recognition, it can do more of an impact than somebody like Kylie Rae. Now, all the fans of Kylie Rae are just going to be upset anyways because they're like, well, yeah, but Kylie Rae is big to us, so it would have been important to us. And so, again, it is a very fine line that we're walking, but it's very interesting that Tony Khan isn't coming out and denying these accusations. He's just saying they're rumors. He's not putting a quash on these rumors. Now, we don't know what NDAs or agreements or talks or conversation or what can and cannot be said if something did happen. But if nothing happened, then anything should be said. And Tony Khan should definitely be out there going, look, nobody's ever came to me to say anything along these lines about one Chris Jericho. I've never had these comments or suggestions. But he continues to say that AEW is one of the safest places in the business, one of the safest places in the wrestling industry, one of the safest places in business, almost in the world, almost period. And you have to go safe based on what? Are we purely looking at safe from harassment? Is that it? Is that what we're safe on? But that's something you define. You said you were the safest company in the world, which is a global word that encompasses a lot. Because, I mean, it wasn't very long ago. It wasn't even, 4 months ago at this point in time that you were telling the world that you were feeling unsafe, that you felt you felt like your life was in imminent danger. that it was the scariest moment in professional wrestling. You've been around professional wrestling all your life, and this is the one time that you felt your life was endangered, that you felt so completely unsafe because of a situation that happened between CM Punk and Jack Perry at your show at All In London, under your watch, under your company. You had a confrontation that got pretty threatening, pretty serious, that it pushed you to a point that you fired one of the men in this altercation. Well, you fired CM Punk based on the disciplinary committee's recommendation, quote unquote, and then indefinitely suspended Jack Perry, where we haven't even mentioned, talked or heard about Jack Perry. I don't know why you haven't just fired him and let him go on to do something else somewhere else instead of indefinitely suspending him. Doesn't necessarily make sense to be paying for him to go sit at home on suspension because you felt your life was so threatening that day, let alone you had a couple years before that, you had Brawl Out where you had the Young Bucks, CM Punk, Kenny Omega, Ace Steel, you had Larry the Dog, you had dog teeth knocked out, you had people biting people, you had chairs, you had fisticuffs. Your safety is that. Now, we can take away from all the safety in the ring because professional wrestling is a sport, though it may be scripted to a degree. It is still talent that gets in the ring and puts their bodies on the line each and every night to perform for a fan base and a crowd that loves what they do, and they take risk and they take chances where their bodies can get hurt. But Tony, you have one of the most prolific companies in professional wrestling where you have consistency of an injury list of talent, especially your top tier talent, who continuously seem to be hurt in one form or another. So we can bypass it because wrestling is wrestling, anything can happen. But you do have a long track record of people within your company that are constantly hurt and constantly having to switch up matches, switch up shows, switch up programs because somebody's hurt. What does that say? Or somebody has an illness. So what are you basing your safest record on? You want to stand on the shoulders of giants. You want to say that you are the company that no other company can be because you're going to do what other companies were never able to do, to take on the juggernaut, that where other companies fall, you alone, the last of the gunslingers, the last of the outlaws, the very last of professional wrestling competition for the juggernaut that we call WWE, forgetting almost like TNA exists, but I guess they don't feel like a threat or competition to you, which I'm glad to see what TNA is doing. I hope they do become some real competition in the world of professional wrestling, because that will just make things better. But Tony, you want to stand on the shoulders of giants. You want to stand on the shoulders of Vince McMahon, or you not even Vince McMahon, but you want to stand on the shoulders of the Briscoes. You want to stand on the shoulders of the Crockett family. You want to stand on the shoulders of Bill Watts and Fritz Von Erich. You want to stand on the shoulders of Jerry Lawler and Jerry Jarrett. You want to stand on the shoulders of Stu Hart and Angelo Poffo. You want to stand on the shoulders of Eddie Graham. You want to stand on the shoulders of these men. You want to stand on the shoulders of men like Carlos Colon, promoters, bookers, people who own these federations. You gave life to these federations. And there's many other names that you were forgetting. Dusty Rhodes. You're going to stand on the shoulders of these men and say that you are the catalyst. You are the one that's going to do what they were never able to do. You're the one that's going to face the great juggernaut of WWE and stay here and fight. And then you want to turn around and tell us you have the safest company in the business. Tony, you're delusional. And you continuously prove that you're delusional. And it's not about trying to criticize you to bring you down. It is not about hating on you. I'd love to sit down and have a real interview with you and have a real talk and discuss these things and really talk about these things in a way that, you know, maybe we can at least get the answers for the fans, that maybe we can twist the story narrative back around, that AEW is just not a constant company of chaos and just rumors and turmoil and just all over the place. Your women are going after fans with their videos and their vignettes and people, and not saying the fans are perfect. I get some of these ones where the fans sit in the hotel rooms waiting for wrestlers. There's a level of creepiness that we don't need. You know, let the wrestlers have their space, let the wrestlers have the protection. But the way these women are coming off, it can be feeling like an attack on the fans of like, hey, we're here, we support you. You can't encompass all fans into the small narrative group that is out there that is not the fan base that the rest of us want to support. So, I mean, a lot of things that AEW has done great, and a lot of things AEW does do great. But right now, it's a hot mess. And Tony, we want to see it get better. We want to see it get back on track. We want to see AEW succeed and be the best AEW it can be. But we look around, we shake our head and go, "What is this? Where is it going?" You want to say everything's great. You're doing these great things, great things, great things. It's not being portrayed that way to some of the eyes. You may have a fan base that's hardcore that just buys into the BS and believes in that, but at the same time, Tony, it's not perfect. There's room for growth and there's room for work. When the majority of the people are coming and saying the same thing, it's not because they hate you or hate the company. They just don't like how you're doing it. They don't like what you're presenting. They know criticism would come. We wouldn't be criticized if we didn't care. The fact that we care and we want this to be better, that's why we're here. Tony, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you're wearing the hat, you're wearing the glasses, you're talking about being safe. It doesn't look professional. I don't know if you're serious or just here for laughs and giggles. Is this a business or is this a hobby? Is this your live stream to make the best wrestling company that can really compete with the WWE? Or are you just having fun playing with toys and pretending that you're a wrestling booker with a bunch of wrestlers that you think are your friends? We're going to find out. Hopefully something changed. Hopefully it gets better. But ladies and gentlemen, on the big time, I've ranted way too long. This is the Value Wrestling. We are the fastest growing. No, I can't say we're the fastest growing. We are the biggest. I have nothing. Damn it. Screw it all. And I don't want to re-record this. I don't want to edit this. We are the Value Wrestling. We are going to be the biggest, the baddest in wrestling, podcasting. We are making the march. We are on our way. Make sure you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Share this out with all your friends, family, and everybody who loves professional wrestling. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Help us grow. We are trying to march to 1,000 this year and beyond. We want to hit numbers. We want to break records. We want to be number one. We want to be contenders. We want to be represented in the IWC, in the wrestling podcast business. And we want to grow and become bigger. We have a lot of plans. We can't wait to open that door, but we need your help and support to get there. So please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications, because you never know when new content or videos will come. And of course, I will be here tomorrow with Mr. Z and Mr. Clark to do the weekly roundup on the Value Wrestling. That'll be the Value Wrestling's weekly roundup, the first one for the new year. We're going to break everything down going on this week for professional wrestling. Lots and lots of stuff to talk about. We're going to break it all down. I hope you'll be here. I hope you'll be ready. That'll be live, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, California. Yes, we are in California, so that'll be 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you have that bell rung for notifications, so whenever we do go live, you'll be ready. But for now, I'm out, and until the next one, we'll catch you then.